Welcome to the Rocky and Meisty show presented by Jew Stool. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Let's get right into it.
You're completely missing the boat, Amr. You're at the wrong dock.
I'd have to say this. If he's looking to go to a new team, the last thing he wants to do is be like, oh, I'm not. No, he's got to show up. And he's got to show the Browns, you just lost $250 million by not playing, by not giving me that money. You're going to give it to him? Go for it.
This is crazy. Tyreek killed one of the Dolphins for 5 hits. Second to division. Should we end the podcast now? I bet breaking news. Should we end it now? Now or later? Which one? I walk out right now. Here first.
That's asinine. You're crazy.
He's got the full package.
No way. I don't care. No way. I can't even. It's hard to even look at you right now when you say something like that. That's crazy.
We want to talk about legacy-defining plays and legacy-defining throws. 13 seconds, and you get the ball in field goal range. That is absolutely insane.
I'm going to be frank with you guys. Mitch Trubisky is not a good NFL quarterback. He has never been.
Okay. And guess what? In basketball, you use a basketball. In football, you use a football.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I have to say though, I don't prefer Fox as a broadcast, but their song is very popular for whatever reason. But here we are, Super Bowl Sunday. We're here Saturday night, a few hours before the Super Bowl. I'm waking up at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning. I don't know about you, Meisty, but I'm waking up at the crack of dawn to get ready for this Super Bowl. Get ready for the game. No, I'm kidding. I'm not getting up that early for the Super Bowl, but I am getting up very early. So, we are slightly limited in time, but nonetheless. And for Meisty, it's quite late anyway. But let's do it. Let's talk a little about the Super Bowl, Meisty. How are we feeling about this blockbuster of a matchup tomorrow, Meisty?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no way to really predict this Super Bowl and then say, oh yeah, that was a good prediction. Like anyone guessing what's going to happen is talking out of their wazoo and knows nothing. And the Super Bowl is up for grabs, and anything is possible. So, I mean, it's almost like I don't even like talking about it. Like I'm just so excited for it. I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for it. It should be the best game. It should be such a good game. It's the number one teams. It's so good. It's such a good. It's like, well, oh yeah, but like the Chiefs don't have X, Y, Z, but they have Mahomes. Like you could put anything you want up on one side of the scale from the Eagles, but like Mahomes, Kelsey stand alone on the other side enough, and it's like you're just not going to stop it.
Agreed, and that's why we're not going to talk about hyperbole. We're not going to talk about the best matchup ever. We're not talking about one seed versus one seed because everyone knows that already, Meisty, right? Everyone knows the big headlines. I want to have some fun here a little for our Super Bowl preview. Talk about some crazy props. You're looking at to bet on the spread in this type of Super Bowl, Meisty. I would advise against that, right? to bet spread either way, to even the over under, to bet on 51, like the traditional things that people bet on. Money lines, spreads, money, and over-unders. I just think today's not the day, Meisty. I think today's not the day. I think you have some fun. There's so many unique props in this. I'm not a big bettor myself, but I just like looking through the bets and seeing what interesting stuff is out there. So, we're going to talk about that a little later on. But first, I do want to talk about the game itself a little, talk about some matchups. And, Meisty, I'll give you some time to think about this, but one matchup that I want to look at from each team. What's an advantage for each team? I'm going to start. If you look at it up front for the Eagles have a clear advantage up front. Now you're going to tell me, well, Chris Jones is sitting there on the other side. But if you look at the Eagles' offensive line, obviously top 5 offensive line in football has paved the way to one of the best rushing games in football. For the last 2 years, they've really been the best running game in football if you look at it in a 2-year scope. And at the end of the day, Chris Jones is great, but outside of Chris Jones, they don't have anyone on the team that has a PFF grade of higher than 60 in the interior specifically. So if the Eagles are going to run the ball, they're going to have a lot of success. We saw 2 weeks ago against San Francisco what happened. The Eagles' passing game was not working very well, Meisty. It wasn't working very well. They were trying to sling the ball a couple times down the field to A.J. Brown. It did not work. Very few deep balls from Jalen Hurts in that game. They abandoned it. They abandoned the deep ball. They simply went to the running game, and San Francisco did a good job, but eventually, the Eagles came through 4 or 5 15, 20-yard runs. A few of them converted into touchdowns. That was the difference in that game, Meisty. It was the few runs that they finally converted, and they're going up against a Kansas City defense that's not nearly as good. Even if you have Chris Jones in the interior, just double team him. He's not as good in the run game quite as he is in the pass game. Don't get me wrong, this guy's a stud. But he's not as good in the run game as he is in the pass game. They're going to run the ball. Even if the Chiefs are going to see it coming, I don't see how the Chiefs are going to stop it. So in terms of one matchup that I'm liking in this game, for the Eagles, it is the offensive line against that Chiefs defensive line. I think that the Chiefs are going to struggle in the running game, trying to stop that Eagles run. No question.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I see is, where the Chiefs are really going to struggle is their cornerbacks. They have L'Jarius Sneed, they have Josh Williams, they have Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, all these guys, but they're young. You're talking about AJ Brown, you're talking about Devontae Smith. I mean, AJ Brown, to me, there's no answer for him. The Chiefs have zero answer for him at this point. But again, I keep saying it. The Eagles have zero answer for Mahomes. No one has an answer for Mahomes. Right now, the retirement of Tom Brady officially handed in his papers. He is now the best active player in football. He is, and there's no question about it. The money shows it. His stats show it. His numbers show it. Every year that guy he's just MVP. Oh, and then they say, and this is the trend that people who win MVP and go to the Super Bowl a lot of times don't win the Super Bowl. I'm going to say this is going to be a first. This is the time that he does do. So I really do see the Chiefs winning this game. But again, anything can happen. Jalen Hurts is young, so is Mahomes, but obviously he's been around longer at this point. Jalen Hurts is young. It's a big moment for him. Can he come to? I don't know. We'll find out. But I agree 100%. That line will decide the game. Whichever team's offensive line can play better, whichever team's defensive line can play better. Also, I think that another thing is Mahomes can make mistakes. Jalen Hurts takes care of the ball. Mahomes likes to take risks. Will throw picks. That's not gonna. You're not gonna be able to have turnovers in this game. Turnovers are really gonna be key in this game.
Yeah, no, it's very true, and I think that you pointed out, like we were saying, the best matchup. There's no question. If you look at the Chiefs side, like you said, Mahomes is the best matchup for the Chiefs. Now, do the Eagles have an incredible secondary? They do. I mean, Bradbury and Slay, those are the household names. But Reed Blankenship, also as a safety, lingering there in the back. Avonte Maddox, this guy's been good for a bunch of years now, Philly. So they have an incredible secondary and an incredible roster all around. But you don't match up well with Patrick Mahomes, even if you have the best secondary in football. I'm not saying the Eagles do. They might. But even if you have the best secondary in football, you don't match up well with Patrick Mahomes. Even on one leg, what he was able to do last 2 weekends ago against Cincinnati was just unbelievable. So at the end of the day, that is the matchup. That is the matchup we're going to highlight on the Kansas City side. But the Eagles, on paper, Meisty, do have a lot of the matchup advantages. Like, as a team, the Eagles have the best roster in football. I've been saying this for a good part of the year now. I've been saying, just a few weeks into the year, I said, you look at this roster, this is one of, if not the best roster in football. And it is. A top 5 defense and a top 5 offense. And I think they're 6th defense, number 6th offense, 6th rated offense in the league, 2nd rated defense in the league. Depends whose metrics you go according to. But all somewhere in that category. And it's going to be very tough no matter what's going to happen. Patrick Mahomes, I was actually listening to a doctor sort of break down the injuries between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. It's very interesting. You know what a lot of people, podcast guys have been doing this week? They've been bringing on doctors. Because, tell us, we're not experts on this. So tell us, how will this impact? How will the high ankle sprain and the shoulder injury impact their respective play, the respective play of Jalen Hurts, of Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts? So basically what they were saying is, long-term effect, Jalen Hurts might have a worse injury than Patrick Mahomes because he has it in his shoulder, and it's basically in a certain bone that if it gets hit in a certain place, it can do some severe damage. But Jalen Hurts can protect his shoulder, and he'll be fine. It's not his throwing arm. He can just protect that arm. He can still run. As long as he protects that shoulder, he'll be fine. Patrick Mahomes cannot protect his ankle. It's just impossible. The ankle is very vulnerable. It's out there. It's very susceptible to injury, susceptible to getting hit. So Patrick Mahomes is going to have a much more difficult time protecting himself physically in this game. And when he rolls out to the side of the ankle, he's going to have a hard time throwing. He just is. He didn't do that much last week. He didn't. He didn't roll out. I think his left ankle is the one that's hurt. He didn't roll out to the left very often. So that's something to watch out for. He didn't do it last week, and I imagine he won't do it this week either. So it is going to affect them. But they're both injured. right? Hey, they're both injured. So if you're going to look at this and just be like, well, Patrick Mahomes is injured, that's what concerns me. Granted, it should be a concern. I mean, he's clearly not the same Patrick Mahomes when he's injured, especially his mobility, but they're both injured. So I guess it evens out the playing field, maybe. One way to look at it, maybe.
Right, but Mahomes is Jalen Hurts sat out and recovered, and is way more, healthy than a guy like Patrick Mahomes might be. Now Patrick Mahomes has had over 3 weeks of recovery time about. So, maybe Mahomes is fine. Maybe they're both not fine. No one's fine at this point in the season. No one's fine.
That's
Everyone's
true.
banged up, right? So. I'm not looking at injury in this game and being like, oh yeah, injuries are big here, and unless someone gets hurt, obviously mid game here, yeah, fine. But talking about going into this game, I see both these teams exactly even. This could be anyone's game. I'm excited for it. That's pretty much all there is. It's an even game, no matter how you want to put it. Mahomes and Kelsey hold down a scale, no matter who you put on the other side.
There's two more things I want to highlight here. One thing is how much the Chiefs are going to blitz. Really intrigues me because Spags loves to blitz, and the Eagles pick up the blitz really well. But Jalen Hurts, as a quarterback, as a passer, is an average passer when he's blitzed. Like, compared to other passers in the league, compared to other quarterbacks in the league, he's average. So I don't think the blitz will affect things too much, but the problem is that the Chiefs will blitz because Spags, he loves to blitz. Everyone knows that. There are certain defensive coordinators, basically, that have like that mentality of like blitzing all the time, and Spags is one of them. So they're going to blitz, and they don't really have much talent outside of Chris Jones. Carlos Dunlap, I don't know. You don't really have much. So that's one thing I'm going to look out for. How much are the Chiefs going to blitz? But number two, Meisty, if you take away, like if you try to play man, the Eagles have shredded man coverage this year. But then you try to play zone. The problem is that sort of the man coverage is really more beneficial for A.J. Brown because you go one-on-one with A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown's going to beat anyone one-on-one. You're going to put a safety back there. Before he gets to the safety, you're sort of going to have that advantage in the intermediate range with A.J. Brown. Even with the 50-50 balls, you have that advantage with A.J. Brown. But in zone coverage, then you have Dallas Goedert in the middle of the field. Then you have Devontae Smith, who's very good with the comebackers. So at the end of the day, even if you want to take away the running game, Jalen Hurts should be good enough to put the ball in the air and get the ball to his playmakers. I think Devontae Smith is very underrated. I don't think people realize how good this guy is just because he's playing behind A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert. But I really see a lot of disadvantages for the Chiefs here. The only thing you can point to if you're the Chiefs is we have Patrick Mahomes. That's all you can point to, right? But if you're looking at it on paper, the Eagles have the advantage.
To me, that sounds enough to me.
Correct, which is why listen. If the Chiefs had a guy, anyone other than Patrick Mahomes, everyone in the country is picking the Eagles to win this game, right? Even if you have Josh Allen, even if you have Joe Burrow.
The Chiefs would be getting the number one pick.
I'm not talking about, let's say they had Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. They had another great quarterback. They didn't have Mahomes. This team's not good. This team's not good enough. This team's not good enough outside of Mahomes. But listen, they should be getting Juju Smith back. They all look healthy. Kadarius Toney looks like he's going to be healthy. MVS had a big game last week. I mean, he randomly breaks out. Who the heck knows? Every week it's someone else with the Chiefs. Every week it's someone else. But that's the point. The point is Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield, which they don't even utilize the running backs out of the backfield so much. But whatever the case may be, I think that on paper the Eagles clearly have the advantage. But like you said, it's Mahomes. What the heck is going to happen? It's such a mystery, this game. It's like the craziest thing, It's like best roster in the league, best quarterback in the league. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? I love it. Okay, let's move on here. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to highlight on the field first. I think we're good there.
If anyone wants to know what time it is when we're doing this podcast, I'm currently on the side of my eye. Maybe you can see from the glasses. I'm watching the UFC, the main event. So it's late. It's late. If UFC's going late, we're late.
Oh baby, Meisty's going past midnight over here. Meisty is. This is Super Bowl. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl. Are you sleeping tonight? There's gonna be a lot of people in America that are not sleeping tonight.
It's gonna be hard to be sleeping. I got a long trip to Arizona tomorrow, so
yeah, right. I've been seeing all the podcasts that they've been doing on Media Row, whatever they call it now, Radio Row, Media Row. It's really cool. Could you imagine? One day the Rocky and Meisty show is Super Bowl weekend. We're going to be able to go to Media Row and do our podcast right then and there, like all the big podcasts. That's the goal, man. Could you imagine we could spend the whole week like leading up to Super Bowl Radio Row doing our podcast, getting some cool guests on?
Got 'em. Yeah, it would be very nice.
I know. It's like a dream. Anyway, okay, so let's get to some bets, some interesting bets, which the Super Bowl is the time, like you bet on pregame, you bet on the halftime show, you bet. Someone was saying, it's very funny, what's your Super Bowl pet peeve? What's your Super Bowl pet peeve? So someone said his Super Bowl pet peeve, and I completely agree with him, maybe controversial, is the halftime show is way too long. It's a half hour. He said by the time you get to the second half, you have forgotten what happened in the first half. It's just too long. It's like, I understand you need to get up, stretch your legs a little, 10, 15 minutes like a normal halftime, fine. But the half hour, it's a concert in the middle of the biggest game of the season. What are you doing? I don't like it.
No. I disagree. 100%. I mean, I understand I understand where you're coming from, but I mean, you have to. So I'll tell you like this. Here's this. Maybe today it's not as special. Back in the day, right? They used to have Michael Jackson perform, right? Michael Jackson performing at the halftime show. People came to the Super Bowl not for the game. The game used to be sucky. The game used to be a blowout. Right? The games used to be terrible. Everyone used to have the best games of the year were the Cowboys 49ers. You know what I'm saying? Those were the games in the NFC Championship game, and the AFC on their side. But when they met, one of those teams just destroyed the other one. So people came to watch Michael Jackson, Prince, the all-time greats perform. So yeah, nowadays we don't have that type of respect, I guess, or that type of, pull and feel towards these artists. Some people do. I'm sure with Rihanna, some people will feel that way, but not the same way that everyone really enjoyed Michael Jackson. Everyone, the whole America enjoyed that music. So it's different. It's very different now. I agree. It's hard. It's different now. But that is how it is. That is tradition. That you had you played a first half of the most important game of the year. You had the most superstar concert, and you're like, wow. And all of a sudden, you just get the next second half and the last part of the season, and it's like, holy cow. So it's part of it. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Listen, I mean, I hear where you're coming from. There is a certain element of tradition in there, but it doesn't really matter to me who's performing. I personally don't care. If they could be the best performer in the world, I'm not saying the performers aren't great. I'm sure they do a great job. But personally, I don't watch the halftime show. I have no care for it. I'm more assessing what happened in the first half, watching highlights, looking at stats. That's more me. but I'm sure that doesn't surprise anyone. But that's like what I like to do. But anyway, point being that I just feel that it is a football game. It's an event also. Granted, it's an event. I was just telling you about Radio Row and everything leading up to it, the media week, and that's true. But as a football fan, I like to just watch football. And you need a halftime show, stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, have a snack. I don't give a darn. But at the end of the day, I just feel like it's a little too long. It's overblown. That's all I'm saying.
I'll give you this. My pet peeve in the Super Bowl is commercials. I think commercials used to be excellent, and now they're not so good. The companies aren't pumping in the money. It's not the same companies. It's silly now. It became almost silly at this point. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoy the few good commercials that we do see, the funny ones. But I think commercials. I think in games, in sports in general, the commercials have been an issue that they're taking over the sports constantly. 30-second commercial in the Super Bowl. Guess how much it cost, Meisty?
Oh, tell me. Take a wild guess.
I think it's $500,000.
Guess again, and guess way more than that. Way more.
Oh God.
Multiply it by like 10.
Oh, $10 million.
It's at $7 million for a 30-second commercial in the Super Bowl. So part of the problem is that not many companies can really afford that, right? Even if you're rich. Well, $7 million on a 30-second commercial. It's only the rich get richer type of thing, right? Where like Amazon can sort of...
Geico's.
Right.
Yeah, the Geico folks.
Exactly. A lot of the players, but...
That is who you see, but their commercials are not as good as they used to be.
Yeah, listen, I agree in terms of pet peeves. The commercials are one of them. I also feel like, you know what another pet peeve is mine? So people keep on asking me where you're watching the game. And I say, well, I don't really know because most of the people that invited me, there's no one really that watches football there. Most people go to watch the event and not the game itself. A lot of people that don't follow, and you'll notice this throughout the game, by the way, a lot of people that don't follow football, they just watch the Super Bowl, which is why in the Super Bowl they'll explain basic concepts a little more. First down is 10 yards. They won't necessarily say that, but they'll say you have to get past the thing to get a first down. Things like that. They'll explain basic concepts that you and I know. It's a given already. It's like second nature to us. But a lot of people don't know these concepts because they're only watching football once a year.
You see it in every sport.
Exactly. The World Series as well, correct. But my point being that it's hard to find a place to go where everyone's just focused on the game. That's my problem. And me, I only care about the game. I don't care about the commercials. I use the commercials to walk around a little, to get a drink, to go to the bath. That's what I use the commercials for. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care to watch the commercials. So I want to see as much football as possible. It's hard to find people that are really serious about the game. You know, and the people that are watching their team, oh, forget about it. They're very intense. Understandably so, but they're very intense.
I try not to watch with people who are fans of the teams in the Super Bowl because it's very hard. It's very hard because you're rooting for certain things. You're rooting for your, you know, if you have money on it, whether it's you have money on it, whether you just have something that you know, a pick that you gave, something that you're not rooting always for the same thing. You're rooting for the offense or the defense, or you're rooting for just, I don't know. You're just rooting for. It's not always in the same interest as the people you're watching with, and especially if they're Eagles or Chiefs fans. It's not always as good, but it is what it is. I enjoy watching with whoever, but I do agree that I try to watch it with people that like to watch football.
Yeah, agreed. No, I agree with you. It's hard to watch it with someone that has vested interest, just because it's an intense moment for it's one game. Everything it's hard. Yeah.
We know.
Yeah, we did it. I'll tell you a little story. Let's do some.
Rocky, hold on. There are teams that don't even know.
I know. No, you brought back a matter. I'll tell you a little story. Basically, story time a little. So basically, 10 years ago, the Ravens were in the Super Bowl. 2023 was 2013. It was almost exactly 10 years ago. And it was pretty much 10 years ago. And what happened was there was tons of people that came to my parents' house. That time was my parents' house. And so basically the first half was going, whatever. Ravens were winning, and they were, the Ravens were up by 20 plus points at halftime, and then Jacoby Jones comes, takes the second half kickoff, brings it to the house, and you're thinking this game's over. Then the power outage happened. Then the Niners started to come back, and they started to get really close, started to get within single digits. I got really nervous. I got really super nervous, and everyone's screaming and this and that, and I could not take it. So I went upstairs and watched the game upstairs by myself until eventually I think one of my friends came and watched the game with me, which was fine. Just one of the other ones. But I was too nervous to watch it with the crowd. There was like dozens of people there, and so I understand the intensity of the moment. I understand where that's coming from. It's a very intense thing.
We've done that in your house. In times where like downstairs was so hectic, and you're like, dude, I'm watching it upstairs. Man.
I know, for regular season game, let alone the Super Bowl.
Like 2-3 guys, 2-3 of us, maybe 4, go upstairs, climb on the bunk beds and whatever, and we were all hanging out watching. Of course, I much enjoyed that.
That was the best. It downstairs we had a 100-inch projector, whereas upstairs we had like a 30-inch little screen in a little bunk with a bunk bed, and we all stuffed in there and figured out a way to make it work. But those were the best. The games downstairs, we're all on our phones, this, that. Here it's more intimate. You watch the game, you talk about the game. Those are the best, So anyway, I might have to. With that being said, I might have to end up watching the game by myself after all said and done. But maybe we'll do some Discord chat. I don't know if you're available, but we'll have to discuss that. So
maybe during halftime.
Maybe during halftime. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. We could do like a Rocky and Meisty halftime show. Way better.
Probably better than Fox's halftime show.
Oh, that's for darn sure. That's exactly my point.
Quick shout out to the Oregon Glee Club. They did the national anthem before the UCLA Oregon basketball game tonight, and they took over 5 minutes. It made Fergie's national anthem at the NBA All-Star game sound good. It was so brutal.
Oh my gosh, I did not see that.
Shout out them for trying. Respect. My ears did bleed, but respect.
My ears did bleed. I did not know that was a thing. I'm gonna have to watch that after the podcast.
What happened was I was watching the UFC on ESPN, and the event cut off to the next event, and as soon as the event ended, the UCLA game came on, and it cut to the middle of them singing the national anthem, and I was just like, "What is that sound?" And all the time, like, "Oh my gosh, it's the national anthem."
Didn't register until a few seconds later. That's the national anthem.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Time, and then the announcer was like, "Wow, that was over 5 minutes there." Whoever it was, Chris, that was over 5 minutes.
Oh, before we move on, just to end this segment on a positive note, we just talked about pet peeves in the Super Bowl. What's your favorite part about the Super Bowl? you have a favorite part about the Super Bowl?
Oh, barbecue.
So it's the food.
Yeah, usually. Or honestly, it's either the food. No, but for real, it's the moment. It's that moment that the helmet catch, the element catch, the this, the that, the pick, that moment that you can sit there and be like, that's the moment. The James Harrison, interception. The Hines Ward also happened in that game, but there's always a moment that happens in the game, and you're like, that moment. You always talk about that moment, and you wait, you watch. You don't want. That's why you can't miss a play, because you miss that play. Oh, you might as well just go home.
I agree. That moment is certainly when you have the David Tyree, when you have the, like last time the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, the strip sack of Brady. Those are the big moments that, you won't forget where you were at those moments. But there's two things I want to highlight. Number one, I know this is going to sound cliche, but I love seeing, if I have no rooting interest, I love seeing the pure joy in the teams that win. I don't know. I just like it. I just enjoy seeing it. There's like a lot of emotion involved. There's a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. The families come, and it just makes they work very hard to get to that moment, and all of them work their butts off. And at the end of the day, they deserve it. They deserve it. So I really like that moment, the Lombardi ceremony and everything. As long as it's not like I don't really hate any team as long as the Ravens aren't playing and losing, which they've never done in the Super Bowl yet. So.
Steelers. It's not the Steelers. We're okay.
Right, but that was so the last time the Steelers won the Super Bowl was about 12, 13 years ago. Oh, it was against the Cardinals about 13 years ago. I remember that Super Bowl. That was also watching my parents' house. That was a crazy fits over the middle, and then that was the same. We thought the Cardinals were going to win, and then Big Ben came down, vintage Big Ben over there. That was absolutely crazy, but crazy Super Bowl moments. If you want to go through Super Bowl moments, forget about it. But that's up there. That's up there. One of the most memorable Super Bowl moments is Big Ben driving the Steelers down, and we feel like that's already in the 2000s. We've watched Super Bowls in 3 different decades at this point, so. Really in 4 different decades, but I wasn't old enough to remember the first decade. But yeah, so I agree that would be my favorite moment. I would say is at the end of the game when just seeing the joy. I don't know. I like those types of moments. Makes me happy. But anyway, so okay, I think let's move on to our our betting segment, and I'll just go through some props here. I have pretty much just like literally a website pulled up here, and. Sportingnews.com if you're curious. And we're just going to go through some props because the Super Bowl there's an added layer of fun when it comes to the Super Bowl, right? Some people might say the favorite part of that Super Bowl, if you're into the betting world, is the crazy props, right? The halftime, what's the first song that Rihanna's going to sing? They'll probably have something like that. Who's going to sing the national anthem?
The coin toss.
Right, the coin. Who's going to win the coin toss? All these crazy different things, When's the first time they'll mention Tom Brady? Crazy stuff like, how many times will they mention Tom Brady retiring? Over, under 3.5? I'm sure they'll have something along those lines in there. But here's the first one, Meisty, okay? And I'll tell you what I think. So, Isaiah Pacheco, over 68.5 rushing plus receiving yards. So, over 68.5 scrimmage yards. I think it's under, honestly, because I see the Chiefs do this every game. They just abandon the run game. They completely abandon it. And anything that involves going under with Chiefs running backs, I'm taking it. Plus, Clyde Edwards-Helaire potentially coming back this game. You don't know how they're going to sort of incorporate him into the lineup. They already have Jerick McKinnon, which he's been weird, right? Sometimes he gets more carries, sometimes he gets less. So I'm not really banking on any one running back to get more than 65 yards from scrimmage this game, Meisty.
Is he passing and rushing or just rushing?
It's scrimmage yards. So it's both.
And rushing.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to rely a lot on Pacheco. He's very hard to tackle, and when they double up Kelsey and they're covering this guy and Scantling's not getting open, they're going to rely very heavily on these little dump-offs.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the.
Okay, so that brings us to the next one, which is Jared McKinnon, longest rush under 8.5 yards. There's a lot of these longest rush. I'm going under. I want no part of any of the Chiefs rushing game. But you're going to go under on this one too because you don't think Jerick McKinnon is going to have such a big part of the offense. But remember, this is a tough one because all it takes is for them to break off one solid 9-yard run. But I don't think that one solid 9-yard run is coming because, like I said, the Eagles have a clear advantage up front. The Chiefs have done a lot over the last few years to improve their offensive line, adding Creed Humphrey and a bunch of other pieces. They really have a top 10 offensive line in football. But we all know how dangerous the Eagles' run defense is. They have not allowed a lot of big runs this year. Even last week to Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey had the one crazy one where he broke a tackle, went into the end zone. But other than that, I mean, they kept a good Niners running game in pretty good check last week. So Jerick McKinnon under 8.5 for the longest rush. How about you?
Under. Everyone else who rushes the ball but Pacheco. I think Pacheco's the big one, and everyone else are out of the picture.
Okay, I'll let you start this one. So this one is Chiefs team total over points, 24.5. Over or under, Meisty?
I think it's 24 exactly.
So you're going under 24.5.
Yes, because I think I think I don't know. You know what the truth is? This game could literally be a 50 to 48, type of game. This game can, but it also can be 2017. This game can really go either way. It's so crazy. It can be anything. It could be a huge blowout. It could be anything you want it to be. It can happen. This is a Make-A-Wish, Foundation's perfect situation. Anything can happen.
Right. So 24.5 is the sweet spot. That's exactly where I'm like, I don't know. Will they score 24? Will they score 20? Like, if you put it 22.5, I would say over, right? That just doesn't seem right. 23 seems about right. But 24.5 means you have to score 25 points. This is a big wild card. So I'm still going to go under. I'm going to agree with you there just because I don't really know how to look at this game. But this is a shot in the dark. This is also a shot in the dark. Patrick Mahomes to win the Super Bowl MVP, plus 120 are the odds. I mean, listen. The Chiefs won. The Chiefs win. He's getting the MVP. Almost likely. It's not. They don't have a Tyreek Hill anymore. Yeah. Maybe Travis Kelce, but even that is not overly likely.
No. It would be very hard for it to go to Kelce unless it goes to a defender or someone who goes absolutely insane. Chris Jones has like 5 sacks. Go to him.
Even Chris Jones getting 5 sacks, you already know Mahomes is playing on one leg. Even if he throws 2 touchdowns and has a couple nice bombs in there, which he'll probably have that, a couple nice passes in there, I'd be like, whoa, look what he did. They'll show the highlight reel after the game. Look what he did on one leg. So that'll be it. With one leg, if they win the game, forget right. But the only problem with this bet is that you have to bet on the Chiefs winning the game, which who knows. So that's the other problem with it.
Oh, we have a losing team, a losing player winning a again?
Trivia, has that ever happened? And when?
Yes, 1922. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was in the 70s, the Cowboys. I think against the Colts. I think in 1970 when the Colts beat the Cowboys had a Super Bowl MVP on the losing team. I believe that was the only team.
It might have been the Raiders. I think it was the Raiders, but I really don't remember.
Was it?
I wasn't alive. I don't remember.
Me neither.
But I will say this. Super Bowl MVP, it can come. It's either going to be Mahomes, and if it's on the Eagles side, it's probably going to be Jalen Hurts. But that can easily go to any of his other players. They can AJ Brown, going crazy, or Devontae Smith, game winners. One of those guys can also win it.
This is a fun one. So jersey number of first touchdown score under 11.5. So listen to this. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and AJ Brown all have a jersey number under 11.5. Problem is on the Chiefs side, Mahomes is 15, Kelsey's 87. So it's got to be the Eagles scoring first. I sort of feel like it's going to be the Eagles scoring first because the Eagles need to get off to a fast start.
Don't all the running backs? Don't all the running backs for the Chiefs have low numbers? I think.
McKinnon is 11. Oh, is McKinnon 11? Oh, Pacheco's 11. Right? Okay, here it is. Wait, on the Chiefs you have McKinnon, Juju Smith-Schuster, Pacheco, and MVS. Those are all the ones that are less than 12, 11.5. So, but the problem is Mahomes and Kelsey are both over.
Right, but you do have over on both. You do have a lot on both sides. But I would take. Oh my! I don't even. This is crazy. I'll take the Eagles score first. Under.
Wait. So what if Mahomes throws a touchdown pass to Juju Smith-Schuster? So it's an above 11.5 to an under. That's Juju Smith's touchdown. So you know what?
It's whoever brings the ball over the.
Yeah.
It's whoever brings the official ball over.
So I don't think Mahomes is running too much this game. Unless he's got a wide open thing. So I think that this is a good chance of this hitting under 11.5. I like it. Hit the under. AJ Brown anytime touchdown plus 130. Honestly, I don't know if I love this, Meisty, because
I do. I think AJ Brown's gonna have a game. I think he's gonna have such a good game. He might have an historic game, but that won't change.
I think
that won't change.
Listen,
Mahomes will spread the ball. AJ Brown's gonna be the main target.
Right. So there's 2 ways I can look at this. Number one, do the Chiefs want Jason Kelce wrecking their front the entire game? Probably not. So they're probably not gonna. They're probably gonna try to shut down the run game and dare Jalen Hurts to pass the ball, as is the the narrative that generally people go by. So with that being said, yeah, obviously there's going to be more passing opportunities. But the problem is, I sort of feel like the Chiefs are going to not play as much man coverage, play more zone, which sort of takes away some of those big playability from A.J. Brown. We saw last week there were no big plays to A.J. Brown. They just were not there. And that's why the Eagles abandoned the pass game, went to the run game. I sort of feel like the Eagles are going to have to do that this week, even though the Chiefs are going to try to remove the Eagles' run game from the game plan. Obviously, that's their strength. But I still feel like the Eagles are going to be able to overpower the Chiefs up front with a lot of good matchups, a lot of good favorable matchups for the Eagles. And with that being said, I still think they're going to rely heavily on the run game, and I don't see too many big A.J. Brown plays. Now, you could still have, he's still a good red zone target. You could still have the fade routes in the end zone. Fine. But if that's all I'm seeing in terms of touchdown potential, if I'm not seeing those big 60-plus yarders, which A.J. Brown is at the top of the league in terms of those big 20-plus yard touchdowns this year, I think it's less likely. That's where I'm leading here. So I actually think it's not going to happen. I'm going to go out on a limb and say A.J. Brown's not going to get a touchdown this game. Okay, how about this? Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. Now, this I'm assuming is including passing and running?
No passing. Just he has to rush it in.
Which one do you think is more likely? Jalen Hurts not getting a touchdown or A.J. Brown not getting a touchdown? Which one do you think is more likely?
Jalen Hurts, because if they get to like the 1 yard line, he could be the sneak guy. He can also run it in. He can go on a huge run, and run it in.
Good point.
That's why he tends to do that a lot.
Good point. No, they have the sneak mastered over there in Philly. So if they're in a goal line situation, I feel like they, like 1 yard or less near the end zone, then they probably will. They ain't doing no Philly special over there this year, right? They're not getting so sticky. They could just literally straight up sneak it. They got the most unstoppable thing in playing football. Dallas Goedert, we're going to move on to some fun ones.
By the way, don't get me wrong. Mahomes and the Chiefs will run all the trickery in the world.
They will, yes, especially with injuries.
Plays, yeah.
Yes, agreed. Okay, we got
Sirianni's going to be like this, by the book.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, let's do a few more of these, and then we're going to have some really wacky ones after this, okay? So Dallas Goedert, over 49.5 receiving yards. Yeah, I like it. I like over 49.5 receiving yards. Again, I think that they're going to play more zone, and that's going to lead to more opportunities for Dallas Goedert. Man generally leads to more opportunities for A.J. Brown. That's why A.J. Brown has had so many big plays this year. When you do man-to-man coverage with A.J. Brown, it doesn't work out well for the defense. But zone sort of maybe, lets you have more space in the middle of the field. So I like Dallas Goedert going over 49.5. 50 yards seems reasonable, especially with Jalen Hurts having a shoulder injury. You would assume he's going to revert to his tight end more often. So I like that.
I agree with you on this one. I could agree with you. If they play a lot of zone, I mean, they have to be able to play the zone. But we'll see. They like to play zone, though. We know they like to play zone.
Yeah, Moscow.
So
agreed.
So I agree with you on this one.
Jalen Hurts. This is an interesting one. So Jalen Hurts under 31.5 passing attempts. Now, I forgot what the over under for Jalen Hurts completions was. It was like 20 or 20.5 or something. I like that. I don't think Jalen Hurts is getting over 20 completions this game. Again, I said this already a couple times. That shoulder injury is going to affect their game plan. As if the Eagles weren't run heavy enough. You saw what happened last week. The passing game wasn't working. They went to the running game, and they were successful. They're going to do the same thing this week. I don't care how much you stack the box. I don't care how much you try to stop the run game. Of course, they have those weapons on the outside and in the middle of the field with Dallas Goedert if you need them. But I like this. I like under. Any under in terms of Jalen Hurts passing the ball, I like it. Attempts, yards. His yards was at like 238.5. Heck yeah. Give me under 238.5 passing yards. Give me under the completions. I'm taking all Jalen Hurts unders for passing statistics, Meisty. You're not as sold.
Like I said, I think both teams can have a big game. It doesn't mean that if the Eagles have a big game, they're auto gonna win. The same way that the Eagles can go down the field every single time and score, the same way the Chiefs will do it. Both teams are capable of just going down the field and scoring one way or the other, whether it's the rush, whether it's the throw. Sorry, the passing game, I should say. I don't know. I'm gonna take all the over. I'll take overs.
Interesting. We're going in two completely different directions. Okay, how's this for one? First play from scrimmage of the game will be a pass. So this obviously is, we all know, it depends. Are the Chiefs going to get the ball first or are the Eagles going to get the ball first? It's all dependent on that. I feel like the Eagles are going to win the coin toss, and the first play of the game is going to be a run. But this one we'll know right away, buddy. So this is fun. I'm saying no. I'm saying it's going to be a run. What do you think?
If the Eagles get the ball first, they'll run it. But if the Chiefs get the ball first, they'll throw it.
Granted, so that's what you're taking a chance of knowing who's going to get the ball first.
I'll say I'll say the Chiefs get the ball first and they throw it.
Okay, you're going on the other end. Okay, here we go. Here's a
The
fun.
Eagles should score first.
If the Eagles get the ball first, they'll run. I agree with that. Okay, here's let's get some weird ones. Okay. Will the commentators Greg Olson, Kevin Burkhardt mention odds in the game? Will they mention like something about betting in the game, right? Throughout the entire course of the game. So basically, no, you get minus 450, and yes, you get plus 275. I'm saying, of course they are. No question. Nowadays, all commentators mention something about the game. Greg Olson doesn't go like Tony. If Tony Romo and Jim Nantz were broadcasting this game, 100%. Tony Romo always mentions at the end of the game. He always makes jokes about the spread and someone's not going to be happy about this one, Jim. Something like that. But I think when it comes to these guys, maybe not the same type of personality, but Greg Olson still's a little out of the box. So I'm liking that. I definitely think they're going to mention odds. Mention at some point in the game, no?
100% they mention it. There's no question they don't.
Yeah, agreed. Even though they're not getting great odds.
They might have a thing not to, though. They might have a thing not to mention it.
Oh, no, they don't. They generally let them speak pretty freely, as long as they don't say any bad words or, anything mean, like offensive. They're allowed to make jokes, I think they encourage them probably to make jokes because it keeps people's attention longer. But I don't know. Maybe in the Super Bowl they're a little more careful about what they say. Could be. Possible. Anyway, they're being recorded in every game, so if they say something stupid, don't matter at the Super Bowl or Week 1 or the preseason for that matter. Preseason probably matters. Okay, here's an interesting one. Will the Kelsey mother, right, the mother of Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey, be shown first after kickoff? When will she be shown first after kickoff? First quarter we got plus 160 odds. Second quarter we got plus 165 odds.
Before the game even starts.
No. But so that's not the bit. After kickoff. When will she be mentioned? Again, when is the first time that Travis and Jason Kelsey's mother?
When the first Kelsey brother got it depends on the first Kelsey brother does something.
But that's not on the odds. The odds are first quarter, fourth quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So it's interesting, actually. The first quarter has the best odds at plus 160, but the fourth quarter has the second best odds at plus 165. So I think that they figure if they're not mentioned in the first quarter, this is Vegas logic maybe, if she's not mentioned in the first quarter, she won't be mentioned until the fourth quarter, because why are you mentioning her in the middle of the game? That's probably the logic there. I assume. Interesting. I'm saying first quarter.
I'll say first quarter.
Yeah, I'll say first quarter as well. Those are the best odds, though. But dude, second quarter, you got plus 300 odds. I'm sort of liking that. Because imagine they just, you get caught up in the games, a couple big plays in the first quarter, they forget about it, and then they don't get to the story until the second quarter. I like the second quarter, plus 300. I'm going out on a limb here. So good odds. Okay. How long will the national anthem run? This is a good one. Over 126 and a half seconds, under 126 and a half seconds. So we're going to do something for the first time ever on the Rocky and Meisty Show. We're going to sing the national anthem and see how long it takes us to sing the national anthem right here and right now. 1, 2, 3. Oh, say it. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. But... And the home of the Braves. That was definitely less than 100. So that's what? 2 hours and 6 seconds. Seems like a ton of time. Yes, true. And only 6 artists dating back to Beyonce in Super Bowl 38 have eclipsed that mark. And who's doing it here? Some country singer, I think. Tennessee Whiskey.
Go quick.
Yeah, it's gonna go quick.
Country singers always do quick.
Oh, but he apparently has a reputation. This year's singer, Chris Stapleton, has seemingly never rushed through anything in his life, and he's been known to perform his already slow songs even slower in concert. He once performed a rendition of Tennessee Whiskey, original length 4:53, for over 8 minutes. This guy's a slow singer, man. I don't know. He's gonna do some chazonis, real cantorial work over here. Sound like in the over. What happened?
Take the over. Okay, slow. I'm so excited. I love slow national anthems. They're so painful.
Oh, say can you?
I'll do something. I know we don't like to get political. Here. I'll be okay if they. I'll be okay if they took away the national anthem, not for political reasons, just because at this point in time, people don't even understand what it means. Unless when we're ready to teach. People what it means, again, fine. But right now, in America today, people don't even know what the national anthem even stands for. At this point, who even cares if it's being played at sporting events? Let's just play the darn game. Who cares?
So I believe a few years ago they stopped showing national anthem in games other than playoff games. Like they stopped showing it on TV generally, unless you maybe have a national broadcast.
I'm talking about at the game. Who cares about singing? It's like, let's just play ball.
So I'll tell you.
I'm not talking about all sports, baseballs, hockeys,
right.
sports.
I have a different perspective on this after watching the New Heights. It's the podcast between Jason and Travis Kelce, the brothers. They do a great podcast. And they pretty much said their most emotional moment of the game is a national anthem because they get to take in the whole scene, especially during the Super Bowl. You get to take in the whole scene, the flashbulbs are sparkling, and there's a lot of fans and everyone's screaming, and they said it's a very emotional moment for them. So for them, it is very meaningful. For the players, it's very meaningful. It does seem to be for them. But for fans, I agree with you. For fans watching at home, it doesn't really do much for us.
Players will be fine. The players will be fine.
Yeah, but those are moments for them. Those are big moments. Like they get to take in the whole thing. They don't really get a chance to take in the whole thing. Like they're practicing. Everything's fast-paced all week for media week. Here they get to be on the field. It's quiet. It's silent for a couple minutes, and they get to just look around and see. It's like it's a nice little moment for them, Anyway, okay, let's do the next one. This is a funny one. Actually, no, we're not on to the funny one. This is just dumb. What will the coin toss land on? Heads or tails? Will the coin land on heads or tails? I say tails always fails. I'm going with heads.
Tails never fail.
Then it's tails always fails. Everyone knows this. I knew you were going to say tails never fails. That's why I said tails always fails. That's mine, by the way.
No, the truth is, they're saying there's a streaks, and I don't know what they're saying. I don't really know. But I'll say it like this: in Super Bowls, when it comes to betting, especially in the Super Bowl, you don't bet unders. It's very disrespectful to bet the under. Who are you? Right? You don't bet on someone's downfall. Okay.
Interesting.
No, it's not a real thing. But we don't bet on unders in general. You don't bet on unders. So the only under we can bet on is tails.
But right, I mean, we could also bet on under 120 whatever seconds for the national anthem because that has no bearing on the game. So obviously, right, that would do. Okay, how about this? Will either team win the coin toss and win the game? Win the coin toss and win the game. I'm saying no. I sort of feel like if the Chiefs win the coin toss, they're going to win the game. If the Eagles win the coin... Actually, yes. No. You know what? No. Let me say this. Yes. I think whichever team wins the coin toss wins the game. I think the Eagles are going to take the ball first, not defer. I think the Eagles are going to take the ball first because they know they have to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, get off to a fast start because they have not played from behind this entire season. So they're going to have to get off to a fast start. By the way, that's one thing I forgot to mention because I just pointed out only 2 times the Eagles really played from behind this entire season. Against the Commanders, they lost, and against the Colts, they did come back, credit to them. And I'm not saying they can't play from behind, but they haven't yet done it this season. So we still don't know how they're going to respond in those situations. They're not necessarily built to play from behind. When you are one-dimensional, when you take away the run game, if you're down by 21 points in the fourth quarter, you're not going to be able to run the ball. It's just the way it is. And the Eagles are not built for this high-flying passing offense. They incorporate the passing game into a very successful offense, no question. You have playmakers. You can do that. But the Eagles are built on a successful run game, getting ahead and keeping the lead. So that's why I think if the Eagles win the toss, they're actually going to elect to receive the ball, and if they get the ball first, they're going to win the game because they're going to get up. That's what I think.
So I'd have to say that All right. I have to say that I think the Eagles are going to get the ball first regardless. Because if they win the coin toss, they're going to take the ball, like you said. And if the Chiefs win the coin toss, they'll kick it off. They'll defer. So I think the Eagles get the ball first. And like we said, we were talking about that bet earlier about what play will be the first play of the Super Bowl. The Eagles get the ball first. They're going to run it.
That's true. No, it's a valid point. I sort of think the Chiefs like having the ball first too, right? They've always been that type of team that like to get off to a fast start, but they don't need to.
But they'll take the ball. I don't know.
Yeah, they go down 17-0.
Maybe whichever team wins the coin toss will take the ball first for the same reason the Chiefs don't want the Eagles to get ahead early.
Exactly. That's more where I'm going with this. Like, if the Chiefs are down 17-0 in the second quarter, we're not going to bat an eyelash. We're going to be like, this game is far from over, right? Like, they can come back in a second. But at the end of the day, the Eagles they can play. They have you right where they want you to be when they are ahead. So, yeah, I agree with you. Color of the liquid poured on the winning coach, Meisty. Got to be orange. What else could it be? So you have here orange, yellow/green at plus 350. Orange is plus 250, best odds. Yellow/green at plus 350. Clear/water at plus 500. Blue at plus 500. Red Pink. No Gatorade poured at plus 1,600, Meisty. How much money are you putting on that? No Gatorade poured whatsoever. No, there's gonna be.
Of course, it's Gatorade poured, but I hate that type of stuff.
Okay, what will be mentioned first during the fine? So then we'll skip that one. What will be
let me rant. I'll tell you why I don't like this stuff. I think it's stupid, these types of bets, because at the end of the day, who cares?
Right. If you don't like that,
the coin toss, I get it. The national anthem, okay. The game, who cares? Who cares? The Gatorade. They grabbed the closest Gatorade. They grabbed the closest Gatorade thing they found and they dumped it on him. That's what happened.
No, yeah, I hear you. By the way, if you don't like that one, you're gonna like this one even less. What will be mentioned first during the Super Bowl MVP speech? You're gonna hate this one even less. Will it be teammates? That's minus 120. City fans plus 325. God/religion plus 370. Families plus 690. Okay, so my first thoughts on this, if it's Kelsey, then families, number one. Actually, no, the Kelseys are very religious. I sort of feel like the Chiefs have a lot of like religious folks. So I think if Mahomes wins, he always mentions God first. So I feel like he's going to mention God first. And Hurts probably too. It's probably God plus 370. I sort of like that. They mention the team after God normally, depending who it is. I think God. I'll give God the plus 370 odds over there. Meisty doesn't really seem to be enjoying this one very much.
No, I do. Someone's blowing up my phone. They're blowing up my phone about the game tomorrow, and I'm like, who cares? No, okay, I'm back. I'm focused. What was the question?
The question was, and I X'd it out now because that was the last one. Pretty much, what will be mentioned first in the Super Bowl MVP speech?
I did hear that. I'm not retarded. I did hear it. I did hear your question.
Teammates has the best odds, and then I forgot. Coach maybe has the second best odds, and then God has the third best odds. I said God at plus 370 because they're all very religious there. Like the Chiefs are all very religious. I think they always just thank God first and then the teammates. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, God. Well, yeah.
you're like I have no freaking clue.
I'm trying to think how these guys speak. I'm trying to think
Mahomes always mentions God first. I don't remember I know Kelsey and Mahomes are both religious, I think, but I don't remember Jalen Hurts. I don't remember him so much, but he seems
he might be a teammate.
Coach. Right. He might be a teammate guy. That's true.
Coach, teammate. He's gonna say, "I want to thank God."
Right. He's the coach and teammates. I want to thank God. It might be afterwards. Right. But I'm thinking Mahomes for sure is going to be God first, but Jalen Hurts might be teammates first. Good point. Okay.
I don't know. It sounds racist that we're saying that Jalen Hurts is not religious.
No, it has nothing to do with that. I don't know if he's religious. I have no idea. I just happen to. I happen to remember Mahomes mentioning God a lot in the beginning of his things, and I know that the Kelseys are also like that. So anyway, okay, that's it. That's all we got. Why is my screen all of a sudden full screen? Wait, what happened here? 1 second. I don't know, man. Okay, anyway, we're good. All right, that's all we got, man. So where you watching the Super Bowl? You got any plans?
I don't know. Everyone's jumping all over the place. One guy wants to watch there. He wants to watch there. I don't know. You know what I said? At 5 o'clock tomorrow. At some point, I'm gonna decide at probably 5 o'clock tomorrow. I'll make a phone call. And be like, yo, where are people watching the game?
Yeah.
We're all watching it over at his house. Okay, make my way there. So they'll probably be
last second decision. I'm with you there. I have no idea where I'm watching the game. I have a couple people inviting me. Like I told you, my sort of dilemma is I want to watch the game with people that are watching the game, that focus on the game, but you don't have too many of those people. LA's not a big football town, Meisty. I've noticed that. They're not. They're more into Kobe and the Lakers sort of took over this town. So they're a basketball town, especially because they haven't really had a football team here for a while until the Chargers and Rams came to town. So LA's not a big football town. You don't have too many big football fans here. So I might just end up watching the game by myself. So I hope we have a Discord chat or something going on because that's going to be quite depressing to watch a Super Bowl by myself. You know.
You definitely know I'll be on my phone. I'll definitely be available.
All right, so
always reach out.
We'll chat about the game while the game's going on. It's exciting, man. Chiefs, Eagles. This is exactly what you wanted. You looked at it before.
Yeah, very depressing that we didn't have Morty on.
I know. It stinks. Maybe we'll try to get a little bit of him and add it into the end, but I doubt that's going to happen. But anyway, it is late here, and it's late by you, and I need to get this up before tomorrow because I'm busy tomorrow before the Super Bowl. So anyway, let's try to get this up, baby. Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday is here. Chiefs, Eagles.
First, Morty taught me how to record. Now you'll have to teach me how to edit and post it.
I know.
And then guess what? I won't need any of you. I'll just record it, for you guys. You guys will get on like I get on, and I'll record it. I'll take care of it all, and I'll do it all.
I know first Morty was the producer, then I became the co-producer. Now you became the next co-producer because, you know, Morty's training everyone anyway here just in case, you know, someone's got to fill in. Nobody can replace Morty. You know, he's a tech genius. But we more just here to talk football. But, you know, we pick up a few skills here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Check out my new podcast. For those who are still listening, check out my new podcast. Probably no one's listening.
Should we put the link in the description?
No.
Why not?
But, no, because I'm switching the name of that podcast. It's called Inside the Castle currently, but we're switching it to Castle Radio. So once we get this change, we'll start. Also, I don't know if I know I'm mentioning it here, but I don't know how much I really want to link it. We speak on I don't know the right word for the when we cuss a lot.
Explicit is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, we speak
explicit language. Yeah, but speaking of name changes, we might be doing one of our own. So we might see what's happening over there. The Rocky and Meisty show might be no longer, but you know we don't even know what the.
Not no longer new name.
No, right. The Rocky Meisty show itself will obviously continue, the show, the content, but the name might be no longer. Logos, everything. Good old sweatshirt over here. I might have to change. I'm going to have to get a new sweatshirt. I'm going to have to get a new sweatshirt. Anyway, all right. Yep, that's just the way it is. More hoodies. Why not? So let's, yeah, that's it. So, but that was a little sneak peek. I know we haven't even released that in public, but you know, if anyone's still watching at this point, you know, maybe we can get people to watch tomorrow, like the whole thing, because like they're gonna want to hear stuff. A lot of people are sort of like before the Super Bowl, you're not sure what to do. They have like a 7-hour pregame show, and you don't really want to see all these interviews and interviewing people's mothers and daughters and grandmothers. And it's like, so I go, put it on your TV, big screen. You get to see these beautiful faces over here, beautiful big
I hope
faces.
people are watching at this point. Thank you if you are.
Yeah, we do.
Call me if you are.
Very much appreciate it. And if you are, you could suggest maybe new names for our podcast. If you are, I mean, the odds of anyone seeing this and suggesting, that would be pretty cool. That's how we know if you really listen, right? Unless you just skip to the end and saw this part. So, anyway. All right. A good night, everyone. For Meisty, he's already on the East Coast. He is already in Super Bowl Sunday right now. You are in the midst of Super Bowl Sunday. I got a couple hours left here, but anyway, we'll wrap it up, guys. Enjoy Super Bowl Sunday. We'll see you on the other side.